Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Well, the balloons with the Earth print showed up, and I was able to do the experiment. What experiment am I talking about? Well, we decided to do an experiment using balloons with the Earth printed on the balloon to show what would happen when you stretch that out over a plane to see what would happen with the ley lines. Now, there are other people that have done studies of ley lines on the Earth, but none of those studies have the specific ley lines that we found, specifically the pentagram that's covering the United States. That was a new discovery back in 2013 that no one had basically discovered yet. And this is when the whole concept started. 10 years ago on this channel, we identified all these new ley lines. They seem to form this pentagram over the United States. And as the years passed since that discovery, we made another amazing discovery that seemed to suggest that the shape of the Earth might not be what everyone thought it was. And that discovery was the body code eye anatomy Earth model, which shows a flattish Earth or a circle of the Earth in the lens position of the eye when looking at the cutaway of the anatomy of the eye. So, of course, this begs the logical question: what would the ley lines look like on a plane Earth? Would they even exist? So at about that point, I conceptualized an experiment that might give us some answers about that. I decided to take a globe Earth, print it on a balloon, and stretch it over a plane to see what that would do to the pentagram ley lines that we had discovered. So I ordered these Earth print balloons on Amazon, which arrived late yesterday. And I was actually in the middle of filming a walkabout on my property. That will be tomorrow's show. Now, for some reason, about 25% of you don't get to see either premieres that I upload. Anything I upload to the channel doesn't really get seen by about 25% of you. And for some reason, YouTube algorithms really promote the live shows. So the live shows are the ones that get everybody watching. Tomorrow will be a premiere, so make sure that you tune into that exactly the same time, but it won't be a live show. It's just a premiere. So let's try to trump the algorithms, right? Let's try to overcome them, because this tomorrow's show is close to my heart. It's definitely something I want to share with you guys. It's going to give you some of you ideas. It's going to make what you thought might have been impossible, it will make it possible. Because I've already walked the journey, and I want to share that with you for those of you that are on the fence about getting out of the beast system going into these last days. And it will be imperative that each of us, look, change is coming. We can't change that. It's going to happen. Where do you want to be when this change is happening? You will have to adapt. There is no doubt about that. There will be huge changes in your life. Things that you think you can depend on now will not be around. So, do you want to be in control of that change to a certain degree, directed by the Most High, or do you want to just blow in the wind like everyone else? And then when these times come upon you, you will have not been prepared. Now, my example has always been Noah. Noah was told to prepare an ark for the last days. So, what are we doing now? Well, it's just like the days of Noah. So we're supposed to be building an ark for the last days, aren't we? In some way, shape, or form, that could mean different things to different people. And your ark could be just your circumstances in your life. It could be adjusting things in your life on a spiritual level. It could be we're dealing with certain relationships. It could be leaving an abusive relationship. There's all kinds of ways that God could be directing you to build your ark. For me, the ark he had me build was a simple dwelling that had no debt, so that I could serve him unimpeded with threats of being fired from jobs or threats of YouTube, saying, oh, we're going to demonetize your channel. I have no fear of that anymore. So I can serve him unimpeded and focus on his work instead of worry. Because that's how the devil gets us, with worry, doesn't he? You cannot serve two masters. So here's a screenshot. I'm going to show you this video I actually recorded yesterday, this experiment. So you can see it from start to finish. It's unedited, so you can see exactly what I had to deal with yesterday. But again, tomorrow will be the reveal. It's an hour long of me showing you the property, taking a hike, showing you different trees. Hopefully it will be a blessing to all of you and give you some ideas about what you might want to be doing going into the last days. Now, let's get back to the experiment. So I ordered these earth print balloons on Amazon. They arrived yesterday as I was filming the walkabout, just in case the balloons didn't show up. Well, the balloons showed up, and that's what you're going to see next. Let's check in with you guys and let's play this video. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let me make sure everything's okay. All right. Good morning. Okay, here we go. Now, try not to pee your pants because this is kind of funny. Let's go. All right, you guys. The much-awaited balloon experiment. The balloons finally showed up in the mail. Here they are, the earth print balloons. Many of you asked me, how do these ley lines relate to a plain earth model? Because we're drawing ley lines on a globe earth, right? Well, this is what we're going to show you today. So you guys are here for the unwrapping. I haven't even opened these yet. The globe is printed on here. We're going to draw the ley line. Anyone need any extra balloons, just let me know. Had to buy a whole pack, of course. Now I've got the image of the ley lines pulled up. We're going to inflate this balloon. I'm not going to tie it off. I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to very carefully use this pen to draw the ley lines. I'm going to start with points, and I'm going to connect the lines on the globe, just as you see it on your screen here. Then we're going to deflate the balloon, cut off the bottom, and we're going to place it over this plate, which will represent the circle of the earth. I'll do it this way just in case. Now the plate isn't perfectly flat, but for the intents and purpose, look at this beautiful stone here. This was on the property. I'm hoping one of these turkeys showed up, but they probably won't while I'm talking. This thing glimmers in the light, but I'm getting off track here. Okay, so here we go. Blow it up nice and big. So now you see the balloon, and we need to move it around to America. And about this point, this is where things start to go wrong. Let's keep playing this. Now, just to get you up to speed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the pentagram on the United States, then deflate the balloon and lay it flat to see what that will do to the ley lines. Let's keep watching here. There is America there. That's actually, we need to make it so that it looks like the America on the map. Probably let out a little bit of air there. Wait, no, wait. What the heck? Looks slightly inaccurate, but this will work. This will work for the purposes of this video. I don't know what all that is. It's like the paint came off or something. We're South America. What the heck? Wait, why is South America What are these people doing? This, okay, hold on. Maybe deflate gate. Maybe we need another balloon. So we're already having technical difficulties. Unbelievable. We have incorrect print on the balloon of the globe. We're not off to a good start, you guys. Wait, what is that? Am I looking at this wrong? Wait. So at first I thought, with my luck, I picked the one balloon in the pack where maybe there was some kind of printing error on the balloon, or maybe the paint came off or something. So I go to get another balloon. Let's keep watching. What the heck? It's not working. I feel like they did this on purpose. I feel like, where's America? Is America? Oh, these are made in China. Could be part of the problem. We have South America. That's the North Pole. Where is America? There's Africa. Oh, there's America right there. So as you just saw, I'm showing you South America, and attached to that should be North America, right? It's sideways. Oh, I see. Where's... What the heck? This is weird. Okay, so there's America right there, but why is it like that? Okay, this is still going to work, though. See, there's no South America attached to this. What the heck is going on? Okay, so there's our America, side by side. Because what we can do is... Weird. Made in China. I guess in China, America won't exist. There's America there. It was just sideways, so I didn't recognize it. Okay, so that's probably a better representation. This is unbelievable. Now, my guess is they probably did this on purpose. See, you've got South America there, and America should be here, but it's like missing. We're still going to try the experiment. Okay. This is unbelievable. Alright. And what we'll do is we'll cut the equator here, and then we'll stretch it over the plate. You guys will be able to see. As you can see there. So, our ley line goes from there to there. DC. It's hard to do. So that first line I'm drawing is the 88-degree line that runs through the Washington Capitol, down the Washington Mall, through the Needle, the obelisk, and that line is 88 degrees. So this is the first line I'm drawing, and it's extended all the way through the United States to the west coast of California. Draw the line, draw the line, draw the line. Boom. There's our cross line. And we got one from down here to up here. The next line I'm drawing is the 188th ley line discovered by God Code Matrix of the 188. And that line goes from Teotihuacan, Mexico, the Temple of the Feathered Serpent. It goes up the eastern seaboard to Handy Sook Elementary and across the Atlantic Ocean to Stonehenge. To down here. Alright. Oh boy. Takes a steady hand, steady hand. Then we're up here. The last line goes, or not the last line, the next line goes from, and actually I think that the next line extends from Astana, Kazakhstan, I want to say, over, which is over the North Pole on the other side of the world, or across the world, and connects down to the Temple of the Feathered Serpent as well. So the Temple of the Feathered Serpent forms one of the vertices of the pentagram, this corner right here that you're looking at. It's one of the vertices, the endpoints of the pentagram.
Great Lakes. Right there.
And I actually put that dot a little too far over. It actually needs to be further west. I believe the apex also goes through Manitoba, Canada. I think it's the building, the legislative building, as I believe where the top apex of the pentagram goes through.
Oh, over there. And that goes down to this one. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So as you can see, the lines aren't accurate. I'm trying to give you a visual representation of what would happen to a pentagram if you were to stretch it over a plane.
Oh. And then we've got one down here in Florida. Down like here. And that goes up here.
Actually, that might be the Astana line right there, going from down off the east coast of Florida up over across the North Pole into Russia.
And the final one goes here. Now, for doing this all in one shot, I think we pretty much got it. Okay? Would you agree? So,
let's do a side by side, see how close we got. So it's kind of hard to tell, but it's somewhat accurate. I think that one line on that we went a little bit too far over, but that's okay.
People ask me, Casey, ley lines, what happens to them when the earth is flat? Well, I'm going to show you right now. Now for this video, we have to cut. I'm going to show you, because remember, this is, pretend this is a real globe that actually is done correctly. Well, the equator runs through here, which would be South America, but obviously South America is missing. We will cut down there, and we will stretch this over. Oh gosh, this isn't going to work.
Now you're starting to see how, because the continents are scrambled on the balloon, this doesn't work. Because what I was trying to show you was the North Pole at the center of the circle, and then stretch the northern hemisphere over a flat plate, which would clearly demonstrate that the continents don't change position. They fall in almost exactly where they would be on a globe Earth. It's just, what is it stretched over? That is the question. Is it stretched over a globe, or is it stretched over a plane? Now let me give you a visual representation of what I was trying to achieve here. Now, there are correct balloons out there with the correct globe on it, but my luck, I picked the wrong one. And I'm a little bit curious, look, we're a relatively small channel in the truth community compared to the mainstream truth channels out there. But I know people are watching this channel. And maybe I showed my hand too soon. Maybe this was some kind of joke. They send me a scrambled globe balloons. I mean, really? And they were delayed for a couple days, so that makes me even a little bit more suspicious. But here's what I was trying to show you. The equator exists. Here's the FE model here. The equator is right here. You can see the line going around right here. Hopefully you can see my cursor. What I was trying to do was to draw the pentagram on the United States, which is right here, then cut near the equator, and then stretch the balloon with the North Pole at the center over a plate, which would have given you virtually the same thing. It's pretty much the same thing, you guys. Now, I will probably redo this experiment with the correct balloons. I have to confirm, because it's kind of hard to tell. Like even this one, can't really tell if that's going to be right or not. I mean, they show it on there, but the Amazon order I put in also showed the same thing, but when it showed up, it was incorrect. Let's watch the rest of this.
These people. See, always has to be a glitch. Always a glitch. Here's what I was trying to show you. We can still do this. Let's cut See how all of these, let's cut right here, the paint marker.
Now, if this was orientated correctly, you would be able to cut right through here. Just basically cut the neck of the balloon off right across. And what that would allow you to do is to pull then this, where I cut it, pull that circle over a plate, and that would give you the plain Earth map.
I'm gonna cut right here. Oh boy. Right here. Zoop.
So are you understanding this now? Is this making a little bit more sense? Because the North Pole would be up here where my thumb is. And then all the continents go around the globe, but if you pull it flat over a plate, it's the same thing. All they did to promote the globe Earth lie was to change the perception. That's what they did. It's pretty much the same thing, but the only way they were able to get away with the lie is by changing the perception. Okay? That's all they did. Now we're going to get into a little bit more of the dynamics of why they would do such a thing as this show progresses. Let's finish this up here.
Now, we will spread the circle of the Earth.
You see what I was trying to do here?
Onto the map. Now normally what we'd be doing is putting Antarctica. Oh, the balloons aren't very stretchy. They're not very stretchy. But you get the gist of it.
So you can see that the pentagram doesn't change. It just stretches. The ley lines are still there. Now they might be slightly off by a few degrees, but you can even see even the sheer portion of the plane that the continent is on doesn't really mean that it would change the image much. In order for the image of the pentagram to significantly change, it would have to cover the entire plane. Now, of course, I didn't extend these ley lines all across the planet, obviously, because the continents are all mixed up. But this is what I was trying to do. Then I realized that the balloon has no stretch to it. So really, I should have put this over like a cap or, like a jar top or something, and then zoomed in on it with the GoPro.
Here's your flat Earth. And as you can see, there's still a pentagram. Now, the lines might be curved a bit, but that's what they do in the Matrix. They curve the lines. They alter the math to make it look like things are a globe. See, there's the star right there. It's still there. Now, if these balloons were made correctly, Antarctica, the North Pole, would be right in the middle where they currently have Australia. And all the rest of the continents would fall around it because we cut it at the equator, right? So Australia would be somewhere on the edge here. You would have the North Pole in the middle. You'd have America about here, but it's sideways. And this would be a flat Earth. So there's not much difference between the globe and flat Earth is what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. Okay? It's all the same. It's just they've chosen to wrap the flat Earth around a globe. So anyway, I think this is probably a huge fail. I wish they would have made the balloons correctly. Anyway, love you guys. Take care and be safe.
So let me go back into the chat here and get your guys' thoughts on that experiment failure. What do you guys think? Should I find balloons with the correct continents on it and redo the experiment? I want to see if it's even worth our time. But again, tomorrow will be the cabin reveal. It's titled Ozark Honey Milk Ranch. It's what I've named the place. And I named it that because at some point I want to have animals. I'm actually one of the only properties that's allowed to have farm animals. So I can have a cow, I can have goats, sheep, chickens, and all that stuff. And I may at some point do that. But let's talk a little bit. Everyone's like, some are like, yes, some are like, try it again, some are like, no. Try Party City. Yeah, I don't think there's a Party City within a couple 100 miles of where I live. I mean, I'm sure I could order it online. I thought there are beach balls with the globe on it, but the problem with that is you can't stretch that over a plate, right? You need a balloon because it stretches, right? So, yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So, if anything, we can extrapolate that the ley lines may have been slightly altered or morphed by stretching the balloon over the plate, which would no longer make it a perfectly straight line, of course, right? The question is, how imperfect is the alignment? And I argue that it's only slightly imperfect. And slightly imperfect is just enough for those who control the world to create ley lines that are curved in Google Earth. But they don't show them curved, they show them straight, don't they? And they know that it's not a straight line, but they slightly alter it to appear straight. And the change is almost undetectable, as hopefully I demonstrated in the experiment. It's still a pentagram, it's just a little bit different shaped. But it's enough of a change so that the controllers can reinforce the globe Earth lie. So the people who established the ley lines likely curved these lines slightly to reinforce this globe Earth lie, because on a plane, when you stretch it to a plane, the lines would curve a bit, wouldn't they? Now this is just simple geometry. And so think of it this way. With the devil, everything is opposite, right? He always looks at the mirror of things. And what better way to tell a lie than to tell the opposite of the truth? So what we have is a juxtaposition. We have curved Earth, straight line. The opposite of that is curved line, straight or flat Earth. So hopefully you can see what's happening here. It's all semantics, isn't it? And this is really no different than NASA curving the scientific data to claim that we went to the moon, for instance. They just create the science as the objections start to come up. This is also the same as GPS curving the data to put pilots to sleep about the true nature of the shape of the Earth. So, just because I drew lines on the globe doesn't mean that I believe that that's the true shape. The lines were not established by me. They were established by the people who control everything, who lie. And what matters isn't the line or how straight it really is, but who established it and the sacrifices that they perpetrated on the line, right? There were some people who completely dismissed the ley lines because they're like, well, that's not on a flat Earth, so I just reject the whole thing. Well, you're putting yourself back to sleep by doing that. You're doing exactly what the controllers want you to do. They established the ley lines to do sacrifices on them. So hopefully the experiment helped clarify some things, helped clarify my stance on what I believe all this is about. And I may or may not repeat the thing. I don't know. We'll see. All right. What else is going on? Let's go into the chat. See what you guys are up to. Now, what is up with the debate about the Earth and the shape of it? Well, I believe that the enemy has allowed this debate to take traction and catch fire on YouTube and other social media platforms to create division in the body of Christ, which isn't of God. You got to ask yourself, I look at the Bible and the examples that the Bible sets out on a lot of this stuff. And let me give you an example. Did the disciples go around judging the people that they were trying to share the gospel with? Did they, for instance, discredit uncircumcised people and try to say, oh, you're not a real Christian if you're not circumcised? Now, that's a much more profound thing than a debate on the shape of the earth, isn't it? But if you look at the Bible and read the New Testament, there were uncircumcised Christians who were actually filled with the Holy Spirit. I think it was on one of the feast days this happened. I want to say Pentecost, but I could be wrong. So we shouldn't be arguing, backbiting over these issues. We can discuss it, but to give ultimatums or make judgments based on someone's opinion about the shape of the earth, I think that's divisive and wrong. And I believe that people that want to argue and nitpick about it and make ultimatums basically fall in the category of the Pharisees, who did exactly that. They caused division in the church by arguing about and nitpicking each other and judging each other and casting stones at each other. Thanks, Know Your Realm, for joining the channel membership. Thank you so much. So, what else is going on? So I guess tomorrow we'll do the full exterior reveal on my place in the Ozarks. I can't wait for tomorrow's show. I definitely want to do probably a couple shows a week on some of these projects that I'm working on, and maybe slightly shift gears away from some of the more negative stuff on the channel and show people like solutions moving forward and how you want to be positioned in the last days. Most of the build is already done, but with these kind of properties, there's always stuff to do. And I'm blessed because God gives me a purpose. I remember being in France and helping Mark with his properties out there. I lived there for almost 2 years, as many of you know who were on the channel during that time. And I thought to myself, man, it would be amazing to have something like this in America where I could be closer to family or be, a truck drive or a flight away from my family. Because it did feel a bit isolated out there, regardless of how blessed I was. And also, being out there away from all of you guys in living a life where there was really no worry, I think can disenfranchise certain people, okay? Because we're all here. We all have to do this. We have to walk through this life. And so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. So God blessed this process. It's been a long process, 4 years. It's been 2019 is when I got this property. And slowly and meticulously over the years, through lots of sacrifice, giving, not getting to splurge on certain things, not being able to buy a bunch of new clothes or shoes or, all the stuff that normal people do or eat out. I was able to save money over the years and also do a lot of the work myself and get the property to the point where it's at now, to where I feel like I can share it with you guys. So God is good, isn't he? Now, what else is going on? Let's go into the chat here. All right. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Adam, Brooke, FE Nation, Rachel. God wins. Now, when I said there's no difference between the plain Earth and globe Earth, I'm not saying that in terms of it doesn't matter. I'm saying that when we talk about ley lines, it's mostly irrelevant, okay? It does reveal the lie that the controllers have altered the ley lines to make them appear as straight lines, even though they're actually curved. So that's pretty much the takeaway, I think, from the experiment. All right. Let's see. Mark says, Jesus said that this circumcision was beneficial, then Father would have had you born that way. Yeah, all I know about circumcision is that there were a group of Christians who were saved and baptized and were filled with the Holy Spirit that weren't circumcised. Okay? So you can read that passage for yourself in the New Testament. The reason why I remember that passage is because I was looking into the feast days, and God takes us through a process of learning, and I was wanting to know if the disciples and Jesus recognized the feast days in their walk. So I was investigating that in the Bible. I was doing some biblical research, and I found out that that they were recognizing some of the feast days. And I'll have to look back and see what else I found about that. But they did recognize the Sabbath for sure, and some of the others were mentioned as well in the New Testament. All right, let's go back into the chat here. Did we buffer for a bit earlier? I think we probably did. You guys said we did. Yeah, China made the balloons. It's like, is this some kind of a joke? When I opened that package, I was like, this has to be a joke. This is just what? I mean, how hard would it be to just do it the right way? Why scramble the continents? Do stuff with and Wright says, can you do a show on sound? And we've done them over the years on cymatics and sound frequencies, and also 5G. I suppose I could put together a documentary on all that stuff, but it would probably take me a long time because it's bits and pieces we've talked about over the years on sound frequencies. Mostly cymatics and how vibrations and frequencies is probably how everything is held together through octaves of sound. And in fact, if you look at the periodic table of elements which make up our reality, right? Everything is a gas, solid, or a liquid that's around us. You'll notice that from the very simple elements, the gases, going all the way up to the most dense elements and heavy elements, the heavy metals, they're separated by electrons and shells. Basically, these shells orbit the nucleus, and as you get heavier and heavier on the periodic table, you keep adding these layers. They're like layers and layers, and as the layers build up, the element becomes heavier and heavier. And what holds them in place? Well, it's like octaves of sound, building one upon another. Frequency, sound. And when God blew the breath of life into Adam, what if that was a tone? What if there is a God tone? A tone that holds everything together. And this is why when you begin to reject God in your life, things begin to what? Fall apart, right? They begin to turn back into dust. And this is why I believe the enemy used the sound frequencies to turn the towers into dust. Essentially, he found a frequency that destroys much quicker. It counters God's frequency and turns solid objects into dust. Dustification. So there's a little bit on cymatics and what we've discovered over the years. Cymatics is the study of sound frequencies where you'll take sound in different tones that could be played through a speaker, and you send that sound through a loose medium, which would be like sand, sugar, salt, and you place that medium on like a flat board and you pass sound through the board, and something supernatural happens. Something that should not happen. Something that does not make sense to your eyes. And that is these mediums self-organize into geometric shapes. Perfect shapes. Now think about that for a second. You could see how maybe the sound could form a circle as the loose medium tries to get out of the way of the sound. I could see that happening naturally. But for the sound to create geometric shapes of all different kinds, to me, is supernatural. Cymatics, yes. So, what does that mean? Well, the rabbit hole for cymatics goes very deep because according to the controllers, and I believe you can actually see this with an amateur telescope. If you point an amateur telescope up at the sky at night, I believe you can see Saturn, or what they tell us is Saturn. And with a really good telescope, you can see that there is a perfect hexagon at the North Pole of Saturn. Many believe that the hexagon is formed by sound frequencies. Believe it or not, that very same sound frequency that they're telling us they can pick up from Saturn, actually, when you run it through a cymatic machine, creates the very same hexagon in your experiment. It is mind-boggling. So, cymatics is real. Frequencies are real. Now, what is the hexagram? It's the hex that we're all under. The hex of sin. The hex that causes us to grow old and die. When Eve ate of the fruit, basically we entered another dimension. The dimension of death. The dimension of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We entered the cube. We entered the hex, which is a cube. The black cube, yes. We entered death. The only way out of the death is through the narrow gate, through a portal, which is Jesus Christ. We only get through the portal by believing in him. And then we are saved. So, how do people get sick? Well, their frequency is off. Now, this is where you got to be careful. You don't want to get into the New Age stuff because many people will go out and subject themselves to certain sound frequencies thinking that that's going to change them. And I don't particularly believe in that. I believe that that starts to err into the New Age aspect of this, or crystals and this stuff. I believe the frequency is love, and who is the love? The love is the source of all love, is Jesus, isn't he? The Bible tells us he is the source of all love. We are just reflections of that love. We are just little echoes of that. And the more we can echo his love, the more he can reside in us and through us, right? So, the way that you correct your frequency is belief in him, faith. That will get your frequency right. Okay. You don't want to go into the New Age aspect of this and start blasting, hertz. Now I do tune my guitar to 432 hertz. I do that. It just sounds better to me because that's the natural frequency. That might be the creation frequency. It just sounds better to me. But, I draw the line where I'm not going to play. Well, I guess I might play 432 hertz music, but most of the music that's created out there is occult and made by the enemy. So I don't even know if I would do that because they could be trying to repurpose their frequency to get you to believe in them or something. But I can tell you this. I can tell you that being out here in nature, many of you have probably already picked up on the change in this channel. Just me changing locations. I believe nature's frequency is the frequency of life and love, being out in the frequency. Whereas if you're in a city, maybe the frequency is different. Maybe that's a frequency of sin and death. So I definitely feel more aligned. I feel more settled. I feel more, what's the word I'm looking for? Grounded. That's the word. I feel more grounded. So crazy times, right, you guys? Crazy times. So that's a great question about the sound and frequencies. We've done a lot of videos on it over the years, but I understand that there are a lot of new people and they haven't, been on the journey for very long. Tracy asks if I'm on a ley line. Not that I know of, but the eclipse is coming right over here. My neighbor actually mentioned it to me. They're gonna watch it, I guess, but I'll likely be traveling to that eclipse in Makanda, like I've told you guys before. All right. What else is going on? Now, at some point, I want to have my contractor on to do a live show. It'll just be voice. We'll just be talking. Really special person, great guy with a story to tell. My contractor actually lived on a commune for an entire decade earlier in his life. He doesn't even look old enough to have already experienced that, but and I'll give you a little bit more information about that on tomorrow's show, of me walking through the woods here, because I talk a lot about it a little bit. But essentially, there is a commune here in southern Missouri, which I'm not far. I'm only 30 minutes from Gainesville, Missouri, where I'm at. And yes, Cheryl knows Ben. She got to meet Ben. Hopefully he'll be able to do some work for them. They had talked to them about doing some work for them. They're out here. Cheryl's out here. And so he has some interesting stories to tell about this commune that he lived on, and why and how he escaped it, why he escaped. I don't know if he'll share that with us when we do a show, but amazing human being. So definitely feel like he was sent by God. When you meet someone for the first time, you're always skeptical about their belief system, and you don't really want to say too much. I mean, he is working on my place, so I didn't want to share too much with him about my belief system, because a lot of people run away. They're like, this guy's crazy. And so I didn't really say much in the beginning, but as we started talking over the last, I guess he's been here 9 months working on this place. As we've been talking more and more, I've come to find out that, yes, that is the community only one way. You guessed it. Wow, you were at Eastwind. Oh, boy. So that's where he was. Oh, man, we should have you on the show, too. So you know the stories. That's exactly where he was. Wow, that is, think of the odds of someone in our chat who was also there. That is wild. So, where was I talking about here? So as Ben and I start talking, oh my gosh, it was crazy. Like, he literally believes a lot of the same stuff we do. He was telling me about even Greta Thunberg's name scrambled actually means something. And I was like, oh, wow. And I can't remember what it scrambled to, but it pretty much revealed her deception, that she was a plant from the very beginning when you scramble her name in an anagram. So he was talking about anagrams. He was talking about, now I had shared with him the whole Smurfs thing that we had covered. He couldn't believe it. He's like, that's crazy. He's like, the Smurfs? I'm like, yep. So we have a lot of great conversations. I try to help him with some of the work, but it's very technical. A lot of this is very technical work, that I would probably mess up. So interesting times, right? Interesting times. How cool that ever brought you together, Casey. Yeah, Krista, definitely a supernatural appointing, I believe. I couldn't believe it. And this is how you know God's with you, because I don't even have words for it right now. I don't have words. Ben pretty much saved the project. I had a lot of bad experiences with contractors, unfortunately. I hate to say that, but it's true. I was overcharged for a lot of things, and it was because I wasn't here. I wasn't here to oversee the work. So everything was a lot of money, and I was in Connecticut at the time, trying to do it remotely, and I got overcharged, and things weren't done right. So Ben had to come and fix a lot of stuff. The framing wasn't done right. There was nowhere to attach the drywall to, so we had to add additional framing. There were some problems with how the houses were connected. There was just a lot of problems. And so he came and fixed everything, and he charges a fair price. Now, part of that is I'm in an area where there's no restrictions and no building codes. So that's a good thing. So, because you don't have to use licensed contractors out here. But you got to find a good contractor, which Ben is. He's a great contractor. And so he bailed me out, so to speak. He got everything up to speed, and I'm very, very, very happy. And that must have been a God thing. He was the reason why I'm now going to share with you the reveal, because he got it done. And now I can confidently say that if you found someone like Ben to help you to do what I did, that anyone could do this. Okay. You guys, when I started this project, my income was less than $10,000 a year. That's what I was making on YouTube. Now it's gone up a bit over the years, but 4 years ago, that's where I started. I went on faith, and God blessed the faith. And so anyone can do this. Anybody can do this. It requires maybe some special circumstances. I know a lot of you don't have anyone in your life that helps you financially to where you could stay with them for a while. But God impressed upon my heart that there are ways that anybody can do this. If you have like believers, someone you trust, you could work out a deal where you stay with them rent-free for a year while you're saving all your money, right? You're saving your however much you make a month. If you make $2,000 a month, you're saving that up, okay? And you're staying with someone for free, but then when your project's done, they can come stay with you for free while they work on their project. We have to start depending on one another. And that was something that God revealed to me, that would be a possible way that even someone making $1,000 to $2,000 a month could do it. Now, the caveat to all this is a lot has changed over the past 4 years. When I got my property, this property that you're going to see tomorrow will only cost me $13,000 for 6 acres of land. Now, not all the land is usable. Only about 2 of it is usable. But it's got resources on it. It's got water. It's got endless amounts of forest and woods. There's fungus, mushrooms that can be harvested. There's wildlife running through it all the time. You would basically never go hungry. You could just roam around the 6 acres and find food. And so since 2019, this property has tripled in value. Tripled. The land value, anyway, has tripled. So that's good news for me, but look, one of you did it on $900 a month. Anyone can do this. Yes, set free indeed. Absolutely. Anyone can do it. It just requires a little faith and a little bravery, because look, I did have the luxury, as God began to bless the project, to be able to hire people to do the work because I didn't want this done wrong. I wanted this to be kind of a showcase to show people that if you could learn drywall and some of these things, that you could do this yourself and it would cut your costs even more. But I pretty much did the cleanup work. So I told Ben and the people that he brought to help, I told him, just do the work and I'll do kind of the cleanup. So I would clean up, and I helped him on some projects, and I did my own projects. You'll see some of those projects that I did myself tomorrow. I built a shelter for the generator out of stones, not stones, but blocks. I built the staging area for the lumber that he milled. I built that out of blocks as well. I've cut up a bunch of wood, and there's a lot of stuff to do, okay? But it's great, wholesome work. It's the kind of work that the Lord wants us doing. It's kind of exercise that he wants us having, because you're out there breathing in all the oxygen. Who wants to be in a stuffy gym with no oxygen in it, around a bunch of germs? Not me. I'd rather be out here chainsawing wood and stacking it and breathing in all the oxygen coming off the trees. That's where I want to be. But anybody can do this. And as we approach the last days, you guys, and I'll leave you with this because I don't want to go on and on and on all day because I know you guys have stuff to do. But as we approach the last days, change will happen. It will. And you will have to make adjustments in your life. It's already happening. Okay. We're seeing signs everywhere. Okay. As regulation increases, right? And in all aspects of life, licensing, regulation, people are hunting less, people are fishing less because everything's going up. People are changing the kinds of appliances they have in their home because of the rules that are coming down in certain parts of the country. Okay? Things are changing. Even my mother told me she retired with the state of California. I think about 10 years ago, she retired, and she told me that the state of California doesn't even offer a standard retirement anymore like they used to during the years she was there. I was like, how can that be? That used to be the gold standard for retirement, was a state job in California. And she said, no, not anymore. So things are changing and we will have to adjust. The question is, are you going to let the adjustment happen to you, or are you, under the leadership of the Most High, going to be in charge of the change in your life by leaving the beast system? That's the only question. Are you going to be blowing in the wind and allow the enemy to dictate your future going into the last days? Or are you going to be set up to where you're not dependent on the beast and you're independent and you can serve the Most High, the one master, because you cannot serve two masters. That's just the way it goes, you guys. I love each and every one of you. I will see you tomorrow, and I'll be in the chat while the premiere plays. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know in the chat tomorrow. And what we will do is continue to do videos, probably a couple a week, of me just talking to you, showing you the projects I'm working on. I actually put together a redneck gutter cleaner, rain gutter cleaner. Okay. I can't wait to show you that. And I do it with a blower, and that's the only clue I'm going to tell you. But basically, it's the easy way to clean the gutters on your roof without getting on a ladder. I'm going to show you all kinds of stuff. Anyway, my contractor just showed up. Ben's here. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Much love. Take care and be safe, everybody.